My name's Graeme Hawley and I'm an actor. I've just spent the last year in Coronation Street. Before that I was in Emmerdale for about a year as well, in Shameless and various other northern dramas and comedies, basically. Voice is the most important thing in my job, really. That's kind of all you've got to work with, you know, especially if you're not beautiful. You know, your voice is about all you've got, so it's extremely important. No, not at all. I'm a big believer in kind of voice work, and good voice training is something that's useful in you know, a whole number of areas, in any kind of public speaking, really, or even in any kind of speaking where it's important that you carry some kind of authority, really. What's very good about Priscilla Morris is the advice that she gives is completely practical, and because of the nature of it, does tend towards that kind of, for want of a better word, that kind of airy-fairy kind of, because it's very difficult to pin down. But what I think she's always been great at is being able to be very specific and key in areas and make it very practical for you, and make it very much like I started when she first started teaching me. I was very young, about 10, 11 years old, and I think because she developed that way of working with people, and I worked with her right up until I was in my 20s, so she has a dialogue that can kind of work with children, teenagers, adults, and I think that's one of the great things about her, really. I was involved with Priscilla a lot when like I say, from when I was very young, actually, and she was very much responsible for me kind of really seriously getting into acting, really, and she was one of my major influences in that respect, and throughout the whole of my, she was a very important part of my training, really, from kind of like 10 years old right up and through till after drama school, of very specifically teaching me voice, and specifically kind of a thing called the intercostal diaphragmatic method of breathing, which I think I was probably about the only 11-year-old in the country who knew what that was at the time. But very much to do with that, and because I've gone on to, other than television, I've done a lot of theatre over the last few years, and she's very much helped me with that theatre training and the ability to project. Absolutely, it gives you an edge in terms of, I really feel, because I've learned from Priscilla from a very early age, I've had years and years of that experience with my voice, which is invaluable. And it's surprising, even in our industry, how many kind of actors and people who've worked more in television rather than theatre have no idea how to project, and sometimes you put them in a theatre and they're completely lost, whereas from a very early age I've always been very comfortable with that as a result of Priscilla's training. The greatest benefit of her would be, I would have to say, to go back to kind of the earlier point, really, is that what she's fantastic at is giving you really good practical advice on the voice and how to use the voice, and it's always stuff that you can understand and things that you can really key into, and I think that's incredibly important, and that's what's been incredibly important for me, because throughout the whole of my professional career, really, the voice and the workings of the voice has been something that I've genuinely understood and not kind of known about but not really understood, and that's completely down to her, really. She's a nightmare. No, she's absolutely fantastic to get on with. Yeah, she's great. She's very, what she is very easygoing but direct. You always know exactly what she's talking about, and she's lovely. She's a very good friend of mine in that respect. Yes.